Hello again, and welcome back to my Bonanza Valley and Western Model Railroad. This is my February 2024 layout update. The end of January and early February turned out to be very productive on the layout, even though the temperatures here in Minnesota were near record highs, and it was so hard to be indoors on weekends during this primo model railroad season. I was able to finish weathering with utilizing paints and chalks the ties on the Freeman Energy section of the model railroad. I ballasted the track. I included some trackside details, such as ties that have been replaced. I added a little more landscaping material along the edge of the backdrop. I used weathering powders to weather the low maintenance farm road past Damon's Prairie. I spent a lot of time nearly completing the Freeman Energy project, mainly focusing on the Woodland Scenics lights that were installed, the working lights. I made a Freeman Energy sign, although I think I'm going to change that. I've got another idea in mind, and I think I'm going to swap that out. I also spent some time making that little culvert detail underneath the gravel road approach to Freeman Energy. At Damon's Prairie, I added a second cantilevered signal system. It's not wired yet. That will come in a future installment, hopefully here in February, if not March. I completely redid, for the third time, the highway itself. I applied some scenic tile grout to the surface of the road. It's a Lance Mindheim technique. And then I weathered using weathering powders to achieve the effects, as well as some panel line ink. In addition to the work on the top of the layout, I spent a day painting the fascia. It's one of those areas that I scrutinized over a lot, and I went really back and forth, really evaluating different color patterns and different treatments I've seen on other layouts in publications and in planning magazines. And with the help of my wife, I opted for a lighter shade. Part of it is because I've got this beautiful 1980s paneling in my basement, which I believe is making a big comeback. And I really wanted it to be subtle and sort of blend in with the overall color treatment of the basement as well. Those little bits of aesthetic are important to me. But when I painted it a light color, I really wanted the blue line switch knobs to stand out. So I painted those black. And then my anchors for the fascia are just a couple black screws placed about every foot along the length of the panel. And I think that really stands out and looks kind of attractive. So when I get to the point where I'm putting holsters for the throttles and paperwork for car routing or way bills, or even hangers to hang things on, I think the dark accents really stand out nicely on that light paint. The last little feature that I want to show you on the layout that will wrap up this particular installment are these little traffic signs. I found these online by a company called Love Train Hobby Works, and they've got a really neat selection of road signs. Just what I was looking for to help create the illusion for the little vehicles. I'll show you really quick here. Here's kind of the packets they came in. And they're a plastic product, and they're very light and flexible. So a slight bit of fragility to them. But I'm really, really happy with them. I think they do a really, really nice job helping to accentuate the scene. Some of you may have noticed that on the layout here are two locomotives from the Twin Cities and Western. As I've explained in the past, the Twin Cities and Western is a huge inspiration and really truly a sister railroad in my imagination to the Bonanza Valley and Western. And just like in the real world, the Twin Cities and Western and Red River Valley and Western, which are two real railroads, they share power a lot. So you see Twin Cities and Western locomotives out in western Minnesota on the Red River Valley Western, and you also see Red River Valley and Western locomotives running on the Twin Cities and Western. So it stands to reason, in my world, on the Bonanza Valley and Western, that you're going to see an awful lot of the TC&W power. I use some of the ties at the Damon's Prairie State Natural Area to be like parking barriers. On the other side of the gate, of course. Again, some of the details I put in the past that you've seen before. My brother and his dog Ringo hunting. I've begun really looking at the Damon's Prairie section of the model railroad. That is going to be my next area I tackle. Really, the dominant feature of this area is, of course, the ethanol plant, which is a backdrop feature. In the foreground, where this grain elevator silo is standing, will actually be one, if not two, fuel tanks for ethanol. They will serve the added benefit of covering up the access to my staging, which is in another room. And visually, they'll block that area from being able to see directly, or even have that hole through the backdrop as a distraction. I've put these concrete silos and this little kit-bashed structure along the backdrop here, mostly for the fun of shooting some unique photos. I think that structure looks really, really neat in relationship to the scene on the backdrop. But I don't think that's going to stand. My plans for this area, it makes a little bit of sense across from Freeman Energy, that little portion where where that freight house is going to be for an electrical substation. And it's part of my explicit goal just to be very minimal in some of my structures and placement, and not crowding the scenes. The crossing itself was a little bit of a challenge. Again, I used that grout product in order to achieve that. I think the effects are pretty good. I can't say enough about weathering powders and the flexibility they give you, not only to create great weathering on your freight car and your locomotive fleet, but I use them as well to give me varied looks of groundwork and earthwork. My cat says hello in the background. Hello, Helmut. So there you have it, folks. That is the February 2024 update on the Bonanza Valley and Western. If you like the content, please hit like. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. That gives me a little bit of an indication that what I'm doing out here in my little part of the world is giving you something to think about, and it's great feedback for me that I'm doing some stuff that you like. And I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your month, and wherever you're at, you're enjoying some really great quality model railroading time. Till next time, take care.